Hello, hello. Welcome to our neck of the woods. I'll wait for a couple of you guys to get in here before I start talking. Uh, hello, hello. So, we may not do a long show today, but we did want to check in with you guys and let you know we love you. And we appreciate all the prayers and the thoughts that you guys have been sending our way. Um, we really do. They're very appreciated. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Um, Jeff should be here in a moment. So I figured I would, talk a little bit about the barbecue. But I just caught Kim Okaro's video from the other day, and it really made me sad. Um, and I'm not trying to bring anybody down, so please don't misunderstand me. Um, I love all my brothers and sisters out there. Oh, thank you, Maria. I'm happy to be here. Um, you guys lift us up just as much as anything, and we appreciate you. We really do. We love our little family that we've created here. Um, but Camo, if you're listening, if you're out there, uh, brother, I was never trying to shake anyone's faith on anything. I wouldn't do that. Now's the time for you to be steadfast in your faith. Um, I enjoy having conversations about things like this, but your connection with Creator is your own, and how you walk that path is your own, and each one of us has our own path. And I feel that way. And I would never try to shake anyone's faith, please. And Our brother Remote, he had the right of it. Intent is everything. So we talked about how they messed with language, and I feel like that really affected you, and I'm so sorry. Um, I do feel like it's a truth, but that doesn't mean that um, that should shake your faith in Creator. Not ever. Um, Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Uh, I see some new people in here. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. I was just addressing Camo because I really love Camo. I mean, he's an awesome guy. And I was watched his video and I was reading the comments, and I felt bad because I had brought something to light that maybe wasn't time for it to be brought to light, and I don't want anyone to feel shaken in their faith. Your faith is yours, and you should stick with it. Um, you should let the Holy Spirit guide you. You should always be in contact with Creator, and I don't agree in calling people stupid or dumb. I don't agree with that at all because I believe that each person has their own path to a connection with Creator, and that's how I feel. And I know there are a lot of people that don't agree with me, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Um, I just, you know, I wanted to address that. Now is not the time for your faith to be shaken. Um, so you get back in to your faith, and you live there for a while, because I'm going to tell you right now, in this time in our history, at this moment in our lives, um, your spirituality is everything. All right. Living in a spirit of love is everything right now. And being able to spread that love out into the world is more important. It's more vital now than it ever was before. And it's going to be more important. We all know we're in a spiritual battle. We all know there's stuff going on that we don't know about. The only thing, the power that we have is that is what God has given us, right? Is what Creator has given us. That power is to spread love, and that power is to lift each other up. So that is what we need to do, and I think that's where we need to focus. Um, so we're probably going to talk a lot about that. And on that note, I'm going to lead right into how the barbecue went. It was wonderful, and although Lots of people didn't show up. The people that showed up, um, it was amazing. It was an amazing amount of fellowship, conversations ranged on every topic, and it there was so much love. There was so much love. Uh, Man, I can't even tell you. It was wonderful. Um, and I feel renewed, even though my family is suffering the loss right now of our fur baby, of our beloved little family puppy. Um, it really lifted us up, and we really needed that. So it was wonderful. Um, and the food was good. All the food, the thing about fellowship, and I think we forget, and what I always used to love when I was a kid was going to the church potlucks, right? Which is why we wanted to do a potluck because there'd be at least one thing there you like to eat, right? That's what my mom used to say, but I always think it was more important than that because when you feed your soul with fellowship and with love of your community, um, I think that when you feed your soul with that and you feed your soul with good food at the same time, it really solidifies the experience for you, in your life. And I think that that's how this is how we do it. This is how we grow. This is how we grow, not only on a personal level, but on a community level as well. And so that's right, Chef. And thank you, Maria. And thank you, everyone. I really, um, we really, our entire family appreciates the love that you guys sent. Um, I can't even express to you. Uh, you really lifted us up and when we needed the most, and we really appreciate that. And you guys, you all matter. Everybody matters, So don't ever think that. And if you get to feeling that way, reach out. Reach out to somebody. Even I don't reach out to me. I'll respond. Because now's the time where we're going to be constantly picking each other up, right? There's going to be a lot of stuff being revealed that's going to shake people, and it's going to shake them to their foundations. And we cannot leave those people behind just because they're shaken. We got to be the rescue crew here, you know. Um, when you've got a spirit of love and you've got a spirit of light that that Creator's put in you, and that you have to share that out, right? So that means sometimes digging through the rubble and picking people up. And so I think we can never forget that. And I think now, right now, it's more important than ever that we leave no one behind and that we pick each other up. Um, yeah, well, Ship, that's a really good point. I know this is a little squirrel moment, but Ship just posted, he's been reading up and researching on CBD, how it can greatly help reduce risk of getting sick. Um, and I mean, our bodies are built with cannabinoid receptors. So, uh, there are a lot of things out there in nature that can greatly help us. And I can't talk much more about that. I heard they're doing a lot of straight downs on natural medicine or household remedies. So we're not going to talk a whole bunch about that. If you guys have specific questions about remedies or anything, please feel free to email me. I'll go ahead and pop that in the chat. And I'm very glad to help anyone out with information. If I don't have it, I'll look it up for you, or I'll ask somebody that does know. Good morning, Robert, um, Monty, Marco, everybody I missed already. I'm sorry. I have a hard time watching chat and trying to talk. I'm not multitasking that way. I'm sorry. Usually Jeff's my co-pilot, and we do a great job together. But So, yeah, Maria, you're right. Reputable suppliers are very important when you're dealing with any kind of vitamins or medicine of any sort. Um, do a little research. Try to look for small local producers instead of large companies. It may cost you a little bit more, but for the most part, you're going to come out better on the other end. It's going to be a better product. And I don't know, maybe one of you guys in chat can answer. Um, Hawk, Hawk's mustard seeds. Does anybody know? Does he do the CBD oils? Because if he does, I would love to drive traffic his way. Um, because I know he works a lot with homegrown medicine. So, um, so what do you guys want to talk about today? I don't know. I know I said but about the barbecue, but I don't. I mean, I don't even know how much I can go into. I heard more trigger words spoken out loud than I have in a long time. It was amazing. And I actually made a joke about that because you get, you get so used to censoring your own language just to get a message out, right? To talk around things that you forget how nice it is to be comfortable enough to speak those things out loud. And we had a great time, a really great time. I Man, I didn't want it to end. I wished that day had stretched on longer, honestly, because it the things you learn, the people. I mean, and I'm telling you, there was just nothing but love there, and it was wonderful, and yeah, we wished more people would have shown up, but I think that was perfect, the perfect people for the right time in the right place, and and I think that was right. I think that was how it was meant to be. So, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop in the link here. You guys want to come up and talk about something? Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. Uh, if I don't want to talk about it, I'm gonna tell you I don't want to talk about it. If you continue to talk about it, don't take offense if I say, listen, we're going to cut this conversation and we're going to turn it somewhere else. If I'm trying to lead the conversation elsewhere, it's for a reason because I'm learning things that are going on behind the scenes right now. So we're lucky that our StreamYard's even up and running because it's been down for a lot of people today. So there's the link. You guys want to come up? You're more than welcome. Come on up. We'll have a nice chat. That's right, Aunt Polly. You guys always have such great conversation in chat. I just want to jump into chat with you. I'll just turn the camera off and jump in chat with you guys. Anybody want to come up and chitter chat? Nobody. Look, I didn't prepare. I've had so much going on that I didn't prepare anything for today. Except for I really wanted to get that message out to you guys that we're gonna try and focus on just spreading the love. I feel like it's going to be really vital here in the upcoming weeks that we do that and that we strengthen our bonds between us too. I love you too. StreamYard is broken. I'm on StreamYard now. Uh, is it broken? Or is it only broken in some areas? Because I got the warning at the top of the page when I set up the broadcast, and it still let me do everything without, it went off without a hinge. So Um, did you just try, Mike? Is that what you're saying? You tried and you couldn't get in? Well, I'll post it again. Let me know if somebody could even just try, just to see if we can get something up. All right, Ship. Why, thank you, though, because I know you usually do come up here with me. And I appreciate you, man. Um, and then if you don't want to be up here, you can just drop out. I just want to see if it's going to allow people to come on or not, if somebody is willing to give it a shot. Hello, Brian. Brian, I haven't figured out how to share those pictures yet. Brian sent me some of the most beautiful photographs. Thank you, Mike. Um, Brian sent me some of the most beautiful photographs, and every time I start feeling down in the dumps, I go back and I look at those because they really do lift my spirit. Brian, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. All of you guys sending out that love, I can't thank you enough. Awesome. Yay. All right, you guys are in. Can you talk?
Hey, Heather, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Heather?
Yes. Can you hear me?
It's Maria. Yes, I hear you fine. I just thought I'd test it out for you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing better. Thank you so much.
I'm very sorry for the loss of your pet. I know how devastating that is. I just wish
It
I could
really
have.
is.
One day I'm going to meet you. I don't know how and I don't know how when. But
Oh,
one day,
excuse
oops,
me.
one day I'm sorry, Mike made me laugh. One day
Drinking.
I'm definitely gonna meet you, and I feel like I know you very well, but I'm gonna get off now because I have to help my son with some paperwork, and I can listen at the same time. But I love you guys and thank you. I really am so thankful that we've all crossed
You're
paths.
called your babe.
I am too. And
Okay,
Maria,
bye.
I believe that too. I believe we will meet
Oh,
someday. I do believe that. I don't know
oh,
how and I don't know when, but I think we will.
definitely. If you have another barbecue, I'll just have to drive there somehow. I don't
We
know
will
how.
definitely be doing more get-togethers. We will be doing more get-togethers and we'll be hosting them on our property.
Yeah,
So,
because
that will be
I
something that
know
we're going to do.
I'm really everyone is so kind and so nice. That would be such an amazing thing to do. I mean, I could actually drive there and stay in a hotel, but I have to have the courage to do that. I don't know how far you are from Florida, but and they're in Ohio.
Oh, we're a ways.
Oh,
We're a ways from Florida. But I'll tell you
oh,
what, Maria, by this time next year, we plan to have cabins on our property
oh,
that people will
wow.
be able to stay at. So, they're not going to be anything fancy.
Oh, I don't need fancy. I'm not fancy at
Oh my
all.
goodness. He looks like Doc. Mike, you look like Doc.
Doc who?
Doc the dwarf.
Oh my, Doc, huh?
Yeah, you're not sleepy or whatever the other ones are.
Dorky.
Dorky.
Hi,
Well,
Mike.
thank you, Maria, for dropping in. I
Okay, you're
really appreciate
welcome.
you, hon.
I'll be in chat. I just have some things to do around the house. Love you guys.
Love you too. Thank
America.
you.
You're welcome.
America.
Murica. Hey,
America.
Monty. I know you're listening. Hey, Ship was wondering where to find. Oh, never mind. LHS got it. Thank you, LHS. Downdetector.com.
Down
Thank you for
detector.
yeah. Monty sent
Everything is
that to me
down.
earlier.
That's a cool one, Mike.
Except my
Worldwide.
StreamYard. I like that one,
Mike,
Mike. But you
Mike
know,
sent
there you go. That's better. So much better.
It's red though. It's weird.
Mike sent me the link for Down Detector a while ago, and then that's why I sent it to you guys in a text.
Football.
I appreciate it. I
No
went on.
problem.
I was checking it right away because
On
like, oh
Facebook,
man, and we were going to do a show today.
on Facebook, I got on, it'll let you see the pictures, but it won't let you comment or anything on there. And if you click on the picture to bring it up, it won't show anything. Instagram, it won't show live feeds. I'm wondering what is Straight Talk under? Is it under Verizon?
Straight Talk is under Verizon. Yes, it is owned by Verizon now.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And you guys, listen. If we have a communication breakdown, I have a feeling it's going to be a temporary thing, and I will see you all on the flip side. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to last very long, and I don't want it to bring anybody like down out of their high vibe. You guys got to stay in that high vibe. It's so vital.
High five.
It's so vital. Go ahead.
High five. High five. Push. So, okay. First of all, I hope this is it. I doubt it is because we've had so many false starts and everything. I hope it's it. But if it's not, don't calm down. Maybe it's just a dry run because everything.
You know what this is? You know what this is? This whole thing has just been this whole thing is a test for people to live in the moment and not in the past or in the future. To be able to live right now in the moment, I think. Maybe part of it.
Live in the moment, people. People live in the moment.
That's not right.
How dare you?
Oh my gosh.
How dare you? How dare you?
I did not invite Greta to my show. Yeah.
Look around. I don't know why it's gonna look around.
Well, I don't use Facebook, so, but I'm sure it is probably down. I'm sure a lot of things are going to go down here soon.
Yes. As soon as I told my father-in-law, he looks at me. He says, "I got to go to the bank and get some cash." Well, first of all, if they're down, they might not give you cash, but maybe. He says, "Do you have cash?" I said, "Yeah, I got cash. I'm good." And
I went to the bank.
Yeah.
I went to the bank and got a little bit of cash.
Yeah. So it's good to have some cash when things go down. Because if the food stores go down on their computers and stuff, they'll still sell the stuff off the shelf for cash.
For cash. Yep.
And there's plenty of food in there until they have a run on the food.
Yeah.
And even if I have to eat tofu, I'd rather not. But if I have to, I will. But we got stuff here. We got bean burgers. We've got the survival buckets.
You know what? Here's the thing. Is that if all the electronics were to go down per se, or these platforms were to go down, it would be like cleansing the toxins from your system, because everybody has these electrical devices and the platforms and the media and all that going pretty much every waking hour, right? Yes, exactly.
You know what that is?
It looks like a crystal, but I'm not sure what it is.
Well, it's I think
you're tiny on my screen, so
I think it's called an organometer. I'm not sure what it is, but it's got stuff in it that's supposed to absorb the bad EMF stuff.
I have an aragonite pyramid that a friend had sent me. Okay, so, is that obsidian?
It's a quantum necklace.
Nice.
Weird. It's weird stuff. Weird stuff.
No, it's not weird. I think we're in a position now where knowing that we have to protect ourselves spiritually. You know what I mean? Like, we have to protect ourselves on levels that we've never had to do so before. So it's not just a physical thing. It really is. It really is spiritual at this point, because I mean that's what we're looking at.
It's not. It wasn't about Democrats versus Republicans. It was good versus evil.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
when the
we look at
truth,
these political parties. That's how it started, was political parties. But all that is two wings of the same bird. It's the same bird.
right? And what's his name? The guy that's giving all the facts
Bye,
and
Robert.
figures. He said something about when everything goes down and people get taken out and stuff, and we finally get back up to know what the truth is. 90% of everything, we'll find out that our heroes in the political party, heroes in the religious world, they're
All
all
this,
been bad.
all that stuff. Listen, I'm going to equate it to something. A lot of people will get it, some people won't. But I'm going to equate it to somebody, a woman putting on her makeup. Okay?
Makeup.
It's just like all we're doing with all this nonsense with the political people and all the actual, it's just stuff. It is just stuff to distract you from what's really important, right? Everything that's happening out there, yes, it's happening for a reason. Yes, it's exposing this and that and the other. But all that is wiping off the makeup, because you haven't even gotten to the hardcore of the lies that they've told us yet. I mean, a friend of mine lent me a book to read, and I'm working on it. It's a really good book, but there's a quote in here, and I wanted to read that out to you guys. And it says, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. And I thought, how appropriate, right? For everything that we're going through right now, how appropriate that telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And this is a quote from George Orwell from the 1984 book that everybody says is happening. Okay. But having said that, and I thought that was so apropos, but there was another quote in here from the same book where he talked about the erasing of the history, the fact that that's what they were doing. They were rewriting history. And without knowing your history, you can't tell, like, all this is just smearing the makeup around on the face, right? It's not even taking it off. It's just smearing that crap around. Yeah. It's like, I don't wear makeup either, so I don't mean any offense by that, ladies. If you do wear makeup, I just choose not to. But I thought that was a really, really good point on, them erasing our history, and that being one of the most important things. And not that we're living in the past or anything, but that they're doing it again right in front of us. And nobody sees it because everybody's being distracted by rhinos and Democrats and this and that and the other. And it's just a big distraction. And you have to look beyond it. You have to look deeper. You have to see further. That's what I think.
Yeah,
we're being tested in that manner.
Love pugs in the chat is saying it's like putting lipstick on a pig. She said that a few times.
Exactly.
Lipstick on a pig.
Yeah. And that's all they're doing. And so if they're rewriting our history now, what makes you think they haven't rewritten our history in the past? I know for a fact they have. I've got history books from the 50s that don't match up to history books from the 70s and 80s and 90s. And they sure don't match up with anything they're teaching in history today. Yes, it was a wonderful time, Jerry. And I'm sorry you missed it too. I think you would have enjoyed it. Gosh, I wish you guys had all been there. I know everybody was there with us in spirits, but we had such a great time just cooking and eating and talking. And it started to rain. So the people that were going to camp out ended up camping out in the house, which it was all good. It was all fun. And, it was just a really good time. Then we got to feed everybody a good breakfast the next morning. So it was wonderful. But yeah, you guys, good times are ahead. But part of, it can be a good time now if you can change your perception. Your perception at this moment in time is critical. So you're either looking through a lens of, I hope so, love pugs. I hope so. You're either looking through a lens that has light on it, or you're looking through a lens that's dirty. And it's your choice. That is your choice. That is your free will to pick up whichever lens you would like. And I'm not saying pick up the rose-colored one, because those are the people who just want to stay asleep. They just don't want to know. The surface stuff is so much for them that they can't even fathom looking deeper. But now's the time to buck up your courage and to look beyond what they're shoving in your face, because what they're shoving in your face is appetizers. That's it. That's appetizers, because they're not even inviting you to the meal. They're hoping you fill up on appetizers. One moment. Hey, Mike, go ahead.
I'm gonna drop out. I just wanted to come up to check to see if StreamYard would let me on. So I'm gonna drop out now.
Thanks.
So
Thanks for coming up, Mike.
Well, hopefully it's going down. But hey, if it's not, it will go down someday. Let me close that.
Later, Mike.
Go ahead, Monty, if you've got something, and give me a moment, please.
Okay. I just briefly seen something about that oil spill. I haven't really checked into it. How are you all doing today? Hi, Jerry, Betty, Artist, Rue, Kenneth, Don, LHS, Love Bugs, Shipwreck, Ryan Smith, Kubnov, what's up? Miss Betty. I don't know, Jerry. I don't know if that was one coming in from one of the oil rigs, or I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really got to check into it yet.
Thank you, baby. You're welcome. Sorry about that.
You're all right. Earlier, right before I sent that down detector link to you, I did check Google, and it had a huge spike in the last 24 hours of outages happening. So
I believe you. So if we drop off, I'll try to come back up again. It's not that big a deal. And yes, guys, I want that 5-course meal too. I ain't even playing with these people. I want to know the truth. I've been digging. I've been doing a lot of digging. And maybe we'll, I gotten an email about flat earth, and I know a lot of you guys aren't even interested in that, but I'm kind of interested in that. I don't know what's real and what's fake. I don't know if we'll ever know. Hey, Goobnev. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is too coincidental. There are too many happenings right now for them not to be mostly distractions. I honestly believe that.
yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't find that link on that dang oil spill on my Roku YouTube, but it was on my phone earlier this morning when I woke up.
I think is that the one on California coast?
Yeah.
Spill over there and it's killing a bunch of wildlife. Well, I mean, look, I know I talk a lot about a lot of things, but I'm going to bring something else up. It's going to seem contradictory to the things I talk about, but I'm going to tell you right now, I believe in prophecies. I believe that there are true prophecies out there. I believe that there is power in prayer. I believe that the Creator has our backs. I do believe that. And I may go about it a different way than everybody else, but my faith is not shaken. Uh, and that doesn't mean it's stirred either. Um, so the Bible prophecies talk about the end times being a third of everything on the land and in the sea dying, right? Come on, Monty. I know you've been doing Bible studies with folks. I know you know.
When it comes to Revelation, not that much.
Well, there's prophecy all throughout the Bible, Old
I
Testament as
know,
well as
I know, but
and I've actually been doing some other studying too. I've been watching a lot of different people. Because here's the thing, you guys, when I study this stuff, I don't take it like it's written in stone, like that's the only truth out there. I've never done that. I will always look at both sides of any situation, and like I'm doing a lot of studying of people now who are lining up these Bible scriptures with some of these things that we talk about, whether it be aliens or UFOs or the spiritual warfare or any of that stuff. And I think that is the way to do it. If you're going to really research something, you need to research both sides of that coin and the edge of that coin, because that's how you learn more. Oh, I love you, Aunt Polly. I really hope that you have a great day and that you feel better. I'm sending you lots of love.
so looking at one of these off the wall foreign videos, that always has the different title than what's actually in the video. In other words, the ones that rob the other shows content, and they just play background video. So this one title says Bill Clinton death ruled a homicide, death by poison. I'm like, okay.
I saw that. I was just like, oh, there's a clickbait.
Yeah.
Whose show did they steal?
I don't know. I can't listen to it right now because it'll cause too much noise. Another one says, go to your nearest police station once EBS activated. I don't know.
Why
Some
would
of
you
these,
do such a thing?
yeah. Some of these.
Why would anybody do that? I'm all about trying to do the right thing. But just like everywhere you go, there are going to be good and there are going to be bad in each group. So, and here's the thing, and I'm not saying anything bad about police, but police don't work for the people as much as they do for the government. Sheriffs are supposed to work for the people and not the government. But the police departments, I wouldn't go there. Just wouldn't do it. I mean, unless you're looking for 3 hots and a cot, stay home.
I'm not looking for any of that.
Pappy.
I've had my share. Hi, Pappy.
Pappy, I've been wanting to call you again. Just to hear your voice. He has such a soothing tone, doesn't he? Yeah. And every time that he talks to you, it's like a new strand of light comes through the window, right?
Right. It's like another piece of knowledge added to the Rolodex, or to your really internal book, or
It really is. And I think for many, many years now, I've thought about, I've talked about, I've worked on my perception of the world. Uh, and I had written a song many, many years ago about it, and it was about cleaning off the glass because I had a dusty window. I had a dirty window. It was just filthy. Like you could have wrote on it, and that message would have stood the test of time. That's how dirty that my perception was. And it was cluttered up with things from life and politics and news and fear and all that. And I literally just had to get out there and put some elbow grease into it and clean off that glass that I see the world through, that window, so that my soul could get the sunlight that it needed, because it wasn't getting it there for a long time. So I highly suggest that we all think about that window that we view the world through, and that we put a little bit of elbow grease into dusting that sucker up so the light can really shine through, and we can be that prism. Our perception, how we choose to look at the world. We can choose to look at the world through all the negativity that we add to our lens, or we can clean our lens and try to look at that world through pure love, or through the light, to see it clearer. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna nag on that for a couple days, you guys, because I feel like it's important. I really do. So if we're all wrapped up in this hoo-ha that's going on in our world right now, and we start because here's what happens: you get wrapped up in the nonsense, and you get wrapped up in all these little squirrel moments and sidetracks and distractions, and it brings your spirit down. It discolors that window. You're adding a new layer of dust every time you add some of that stuff, right? So a lot of times I'll read the headlines and I will intentionally not go look at that, because I know what it'll do to me.
Exactly.
And so it's like, yeah, I know about it out here in the peripheral vision, but I don't want that on my glass. I don't want that dirtying up my window. The window to my soul, I try to keep it clean. It isn't squeaky clean, and it probably never will be, because I don't like to dust that much. But I try to, and then I try to avoid situations that I know are going to make it dirty and that are going to bring my spirit down. I try to avoid those, and I do that intentionally. And we have to, that's part of your choice. That's part of intention, right? If your intention is to learn about all the news that's going on today without thinking about how that's going to affect you spiritually, that's your choice. But, so I really want to try to encourage people to, to keep that window clean, to look at life with the light on it. Hi, Pappy. Mwah.
Well, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah. Hi, Peppy.
Hey, Monty, how you doing? Good to see everybody today.
So good to have you here.
Dealing with a 10-step shoulder still, like I was last night.
Well, hey, you get up my age and you deal with a lot of things.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Pappy?
I'm doing pretty good. Trying to stay on the right side of the ground makes me happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a feeling you stand tall. Always.
Well, not as tall as I used to be. We all shrink as we get older. Gravity pulls harder.
Now, your spirit is not that old, mister. I can tell.
Mother Earth wants to hold us back in her womb. Eventually she will.
It's all about the journey, right?
I'd gladly give up 3 or 4 inches of my height. That way I don't hit ceiling fans and doorways anymore.
Oh, you will someday, Monty. Don't rush it along.
Well, the interesting thing is that, we all age, but, some people look at that as a bad thing, I don't, because I look for the positive things. As long as I don't add an inch to my waistline for every year, uh, it's pretty good. So I don't know if I could walk around with a 70-inch waistline at this point.
Well, if that was the case, I'd be 250 years old.
I can't see the chat coming up here on this StreamYard. So what I'll probably have to do is I'll open up the. I have my YouTube tab open here so I can see chat.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
There we go.
Hey, Pappy, I watched something today about the legend of the Dogman.
The Dogman?
And it reminded me of this young man that I used to be a pen pal with. And he was from the East Coast, and he was a full-blooded Cherokee, and he told me he was a dog warrior for his tribe. And I always thought that was so interesting, and I wondered if that went back to what we call myths and legends, because I know there are tribes out there all over the world that have dogmen that live around their tribes, and when their tribes are in a time of need, they'll provide like a caribou for the tribe to eat, and so the tribe respects that creature. And dog soldiers, that's right. And I wondered if you could enlighten me any at all about that.
Well, it seems like we might be talking about a couple of different things. A lot of Native groups were, at least from the stories that are told and that the elders have passed down, that they lived side by side with other creatures that were not necessarily fully human, but were just different peoples. And they did, in fact, have interactions with them. Here in the Northeast, they talk about the legends of the Pukwudgie, for example. And these are the little people. And at one time, they were actually quite friendly with each other, but something did happen. Now they're little troublemakers, from what I understand. But there are lots and lots of stories of there actually being trading arrangements between these peoples, and but there was also stories that there was conflict between these peoples. Some of them were known as face eaters or cannibals. They would come in and they would take and steal, and the children and women and the weak and things of that nature. Okay. Now the term dog soldier, the way that is most familiar to me, and the one that I most resonate with, was a society of the Plains Indians. And what these dog soldiers did, they kind of mimicked they called themselves dog soldiers, because before the advent of the horses coming in with the Spanish explorers, the major means of transporting a lot of things were dogs. They were service animals, if you will, service companions. And being that they were service companions and stuff, some of the warrior societies named themselves as dog soldiers. And what the dog soldiers were, they were a society of young men, young warriors, if you will, that put themselves in service to the people. Now, that means that they were the ones that would act as providers for the old, as far as hunting and things of this nature, doing doing things for others that couldn't do for themselves. But the height of their fame was when the village was being moved or the village was under attack. The dog soldiers would position themselves between the danger and the people. Stop. And when they would, my dog is hearing somebody outside, but they would position themselves between the danger and the people, so to allow the people safety. Now, in times of battle, the dog soldiers were the ones that wore a giant headdress, kind of like a big round ball, but it was made of usually dark colored feathers. And each of them had a long sash that they wore around their waist. And what they would do is that sash would drag on the ground. And when a dog soldier or the dog soldier societies, generally one or two of them would take that sash and lay it on the ground in front of the enemy, and they would drive their lance through the sash, pinning it to the ground. And basically what that signified is that they were going to stand their ground. They would die there in place and would not move while the people were able to escape. And so, becoming a member of a dog society, for example, was a very, very high honor. And I kind of look at that almost in the same light as I would with someone that goes into a profession, for example, where that possibility exists, that they also will have to stand their ground for the protection of others, whether that be the police departments, military, things of this nature. And that was all based on what their belief system was, or what they had sworn an allegiance or an oath to. So in that aspect, that became a significant thing once I learned about that I kind of try to apply in my life as far as what my moral grounding should be. Now, what I found is that when I was doing energy work and doing ceremonial work, Creator has provided helpers for us, spirit helpers, in many forms, as teachers, as those that help us heal, those that can serve as guides, and they're all aspects of Creator that He's provided for us. Well, I have found that there is also a group of warriors that are available. And in my native ceremonies, I call them the dog soldier spirits. And just like the guardian angels, or just like the angels that Creator can get together in the angelic armies, they're there. So that's always been something that's. Oh yeah, this is Mr. Sir Licks-a-Lot, by the way. He can't hold his.
He's adorable.
Yeah, he can't hold his liquor for anything. But that's kind of a long way of me saying, yeah, I know about the dog soldiers. Get down there, good boy.
Oh, what a sweetie.
Yeah, that is Bull, Beau. He's almost 9 years old now. Had him since he was a pup. He doesn't know he's not a people either.
Oh, he's adorable. Well, see, they're puppies forever to me. They're always my puppies.
Yeah,
They're my fur babies. All my
here,
babies.
he's pretty spoiled. He's pretty spoiled. So, oh, by the way, I wanted to let you know, Heather, I am getting together some books for you.
Oh, wonderful.
That'll be coming your way, and I hope you enjoy them. A couple I'd already mentioned to you, I think, in the email. that deals with energy medicine and how the energy bodies of the human work and interactions and stuff, and then something um, uh, that expounds on that a little bit about how energy manifests itself in different people's personalities and stuff.
You say
I
hi.
know those
Hi,
kisses
everybody.
those kisses get contagious, don't they, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I got to take
So-
off, go grab some firewood so I won't be around.
Getting to be
Have
that
a good one.
season.
Yeah. There's a company right down the road that makes furniture. It's an Amish company, and they get rid of all their pieces that they don't need out in Gaylords that are probably about that big around, and some up to 3 or 4 foot long. We just bring them home, cut them up to 2, 3, about 8, 9 inches, and it's kindling.
Oh
All
yeah.
kiln dried oak and mahogany and walnut. And
Yeah, a good
So,
warm
hi,
fire
buddy.
always starts with good kindling.
love you all. Yeah. It makes it nice when it can start right up for you. Oh boy.
That's I thought that the dog soldiers were like kind of a military branch, but more in service. You know, like a life in service. Does that make sense? Am I saying it right? The way he explained it to me, it was something to that nature. So thank you for sharing that with us. And then somebody asked, Pappy, or Bigfoot good or bad? Listen, I think that you're going to have good and bad in any and every group that you look at. You're going to find both good and bad.
All right.
Okay, Pappy.
I love you guys.
Love you, babe. Oh, Betty. So I don't know. I think that stuff's interesting, and I think there's some truth to it. And if we look in our recorded history, we can find a lot of things hidden in plain sight about different peoples and how they're described. And there were, like Pappy was talking about, those stories of the tribes, entire tribes of these people. And there's stories that date back even to like the Egyptian era of tribes of these dog-faced people.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, the dogs were arguing back here. I had to turn my mic off and that sort of thing. It gets chaotic. They think if I'm not talking to them, then they deserve the
Right.
attention. Right now, I'm bribing them with dog biscuits. But you bring up and that's a good question. Thank you, Brian. And of course, it's only my opinion, and I can only give you my opinion based on, my experiences and what has been conveyed to me. The big guys have been out there for a long time. They've been out there for a long, long time, and the stories of them go back for a long time. But to bring it into the near times, I grew up in northern New York, up by the St. Lawrence River. That's where my home is. That's where all my family still is, even though I live down in southeastern Massachusetts right now. And we have experience with the big guys up there on a personal level. As a matter of fact, my brother and my brother lives in an off-grid cabin right on the edge of the Adirondack State Park, which is like,
I
6
bet
million.
that's breathtaking.
Yeah, it's huge up there. But and he has them coming by his cabin. Well, since he's moved in there 3 years ago, they've been regular visitors around his place, along with the bear and the wolf. He's seen a wolf up there, and they actually saw a big cat up there too. So he's had them come right up to the house at night. They're inquisitive. He sent me the pictures of their footprints and stuff. And my sister that lives about 20 miles away from there, she sent me a couple of really nice photographs of the footprints that she had there one winter at her house. Now, she lives kind of out in the country, and we grew up in the country. I was raised on a farm, and our nearest town had 480 people in it, so it was pretty rural. And we had them coming around our house at night too, but we didn't know what they were. You know, it was just you never saw them. You know, but neighbors would report that they saw a bear, for example, running on two legs through one of their fields, things of this nature. And what was interesting is that one of the first ever uh, published reports of a wild man or something of that nature came out of um, the town of Ellisburg, New York, which is the township that I lived within, even though the village that I lived in was within that township. And that was back around 1811 or something of that nature, where they had actually written about it. So they've been around for a long time. The question of whether they're good or bad, I think, has a lot to do with the interactions that they've had, you know, with the humans. My best feeling, my gut feeling, is that as a people, they want to be left alone. But as a people, they're also under stress, okay, because we're expanding. You know, we're finding different things to do with the land and stuff that is changing the whole atmosphere for them out there and their living condition. But at the same time, there's being opportunities that are provided for them that weren't there in the past, as far as food sources and things of this nature. Um, and they're very, very curious about it, even though they are very, very cautious about it. And I have found animals that are wary of something, but are also curious of something, keep a very close eye on you. Now, I'm going to come right out and say that these things have been reported in every state of the union. It's probably more than one type, maybe three types. Because of the descriptions that I've seen of the various different ones, they all don't look like the Jack Link's commercial Bigfoot. You know, there are different ones, and the stories of the native people tells us that there are different ones. There are the ones that they call the Gugwe, what I called the face eaters. These are the ones that have the pronounced canine teeth. You know, and they're more aggressive. They were also known as the ones that were the cannibals, if you will. They were people eaters. Okay, those are the ones that they say they're, you know, not nice to be around. You know, and then you have the more docile, interactive ones, which are the ones that we know as the patty type. Um, that seem to be a little more tolerant, you know, of the interactions with the humans, and those are the ones that were apparently the ones that had established trading back and forth back in the day. Okay, uh, if you know, of course, you can say this is all hearsay because these are stories that have been passed down from generation to generation. Are they true? Are they false? You know, uh, that's going to be up to the individual if you don't have supporting evidence to say yes to one or no to it. Okay, and then you have the third type, which is a little smaller. These are the ones that they call the skunk apes, and these are down in the you know, the southern areas and the swampy areas and stuff. And those are the ones that are reported to be more simian type, if you will, more monkeyish, so to speak. They also seem to have a rather sour disposition. Okay, and of course, the term skunk ape was because of the noticeable smell that people reported of them. Are they good or bad? Well, if you have an interaction with it and they're around, I think a lot of that depends on you asking yourself that same question: Are you good or bad? You know, Creator put us down here to be in good relations with all of creation, you know. And if you stop and think about how vast creation is, these things got here somehow, you know. They're living, they're breathing, they're obviously thinking, they're intelligent, perhaps on a much more so than man on a lot of different levels. I mean, they can survive in the woods a lot easier than you and I can, I'm sure. Okay. You know, they may be able to pick up on whether or not we're good or bad. Things that we encounter that we're not familiar. Yeah. Things that we encounter that we're not familiar with, we have a tendency to be afraid of them. Things that we have a tendency to be afraid of, we try to destroy. You know,
And I think when we talk about like anything that, you know, like Sasquatch, that being is a being that's living closer to the earth and closer in relation to creator than we can imagine, because we have literally as a society, as a human race, pushed our limit, right, as far as how far can we go into this side of things away from the spirituality and still stay connected, right? And they've never done that. Those beings have never done that. They live in constant connection with creator, with nature. And so my feeling, and this is only my feeling, is that they can probably read energy way better than we ever thought about being able to read energy. And so it may not be that there is a good or bad. It may simply be a reaction to whatever you're giving off. Kind of like when you're approaching a dog that needs rescued or is scared. If you have even a little bit of fear, your body is going to give off a pheromone that smells just like aggression. And that's why dogs, when they're scared or they sense that you're scared, will go, you know, they'll growl at you. They'll give you your warning because your fear smells like aggression to them. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. You know, we still don't even know what all the human body does to know how to do this. So, you know, I've heard stories of children that have been lost in the woods being rescued and mothered by these very, very gentle beings that have made them a bed and waited with them until the rescue parties found them or moved them close enough to the rescue party that they could be found. I've also heard of my buddy got killed by a Sasquatch. You know, we were out on a hunting trip and blah, blah, blah. And I've heard all those stories. And I tend to feel like I don't really think that it's a good or a bad. I think maybe it's a way that we interact, like Pappy was saying, how we interact. And having said that, I'm going to also say this, because you were mentioning the different tribes, and I hadn't even known about that, but I do know there were some that were more aggressive. And when you said that, it kind of like, it clicked. A snake is a snake. You know it's a snake. It's going to do what snakes do, right? The story, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the story about this guy was at a campfire and there was a snake, and it was trying to get warm. It got too close to the fire and it was getting burned, and it would bite him every time he tried to move it away from the fire. It's a snake. It's just doing what it does, right? So we need to understand too, from our own perspective, that these creatures are going to act in their natural element, whatever their natural element is. So if it's a cannibalistic element, you probably look like food, right? I mean, oh look, I don't even have to take the skin off that sucker. It's not even hairy, you know. I don't have to even pluck no feathers. So when you interact with anything, you need to understand that being's perspective, whether it's a dog or a cat They're going to be who and what they are. They're not going to change because you're different. You have to alter your lens to be able to see maybe in the way that they would see, or try to approximate it as closely as you can. Like, and anybody that has animals or worked with animals knows how to do that. We do know how to do that. I just think that that's really important that people keep that in mind. You can't come you couldn't come at a Sasquatch thinking it was just a hairy human. They're not. They're an entirely different species who thinks and feels the way they think and feel, right? They hunt, they forage, they do things too, but they do it in their own way, and they see things in their way. And because we don't understand that much about them, we don't know how to change our perception. But that doesn't mean to keep looking through the perception that you're using, because that's not how you fix anything. That's not how you fix anything.
If I can, first off, I agree with probably everything you've just said. Okay, and I want to expound on it just a little bit, because you made an interesting statement about man changing his lens of how he looks at things. You know, we as human beings, we're quite remarkable creatures, okay? But we're not the only remarkable creature. We have some severe limitations. How have we managed to survive all of the different climates, all the different topographies, all of the different things? We managed to survive because of this thing, okay, and being able to observe, rationalize, see what our limitations were, and bring together something that overcame our limitations so we could see it better. If that was not the case, we would never be able to know about germs and viruses and microbes until we saw them under a thing that was invented called a microscope. Because before, it was always known as evil spirits and these other things, but when they could see it, they could identify it. So what is difficult for man to understand is that when they look at their surroundings, if they aren't looking at it with a lens of openness, of possibilities, okay, they'll never see it. Now, that being said, we still have limitations. We can only see a certain bandwidth, if you will, of light frequency. Some of these other animals out there, they see infrared. You know, they can hear at a much higher, more acute level than we can, at a much lower level than we can. Okay.
Cats can trace urine. They can see it visually. Oh, yeah. They can see pheromones visually. Yeah. Amazing.
So it was that aspect of the other things in the environment that the natives looked at and said, "Ooh, I want to practice fox medicine." Okay, because they studied fox, you know, and it's like fox was right there observing them all the time, but they never saw it. You know, so they learned stuff like how to be invisible in the spot. Be there but not be seen. How to be playful all the time as part of your nature, okay? Or they studied, you know, or they studied the attributes of a wolf, or they studied the attributes of a bird that flew the highest, okay? And they used these attributes. Oh yeah, the red fox. They used these attributes as teaching points for themselves, and it trained them to be more acute. They listened and they observed, and they could see that certain birds would raise a ruckus when somebody came into the woods that they didn't know. You know, a good example there's two of them that I have as my totem birds or my teaching birds. One was blue jay, Okay.
Yeah.
And the other was crow. Okay. Both of them, just little messengers. They'll tattletale on everybody. Squirrel is good for that too. Okay.
Yeah.
So these beings, they're living their life the way Creator designed for them to, but they're teachers. Okay. Just like the big guys are teachers. You know, you come in there with the idea that you're coming into somebody else's home. You know, you might think not even be thinking of Sasquatch or Bigfoot. You know, it's farther thing from your mind. But if you go into a woods with the idea, hey, I'm walking into somebody else's home, okay, you walk into it different, you know, and at the
Yeah.
same time,
Exactly.
you need to understand that you might own the land that you're living on for a period of time, but it's not only just your home. You have the creepy crawlers that are running around your lawns at night you don't never see, running in the corners of your closet. Okay. You have the winged ones that fly in and out during the daytime. You have the green growers that are there. You know, all of these things that you're sharing space with, you know. And so in actuality, it's you're kind of just renting the space that you're walking upon, you know. We don't really own it.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
What's that song? They put it in Pocahontas in that Disney movie, but I think a lot of people miss the truths that are spoken. They did a lot of they've done a lot of bad stuff over the years with this stuff, but um, there's a lot of truths in those too. You know, she sings that one song, "Paint with all the colors of the wind," and there's one line in it, and it gets me because it's so true. You can own the earth, and still all you'll own is earth until you learn how to paint with all the colors of the wind. You have to learn how to live with every element, every animal, every creature that is already made a home there. You know, I think that is, I think that's so important. I think that is a very good point, Pappy, because we really do.
The important thing is the awareness of that.
Yeah, and we've gotten away from that. We've gotten so far away from that as a society that we really have to we have to start coming back a little bit to that and recognizing that, you know, we don't own this earth. We're here temporarily. No matter what we do, the earth is going to remain. We shall not. You know, we will feed the earth just as she has fed us, uh, you know, from birth to death. And then, you know, her recompense is us being kind to the earth and nurturing the life on earth. And then we get to nurture her in our death. That's how I feel. Kind
of like that old Kansas song, remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the earth and the sky last forever. The rest is dust in the wind. Yeah, everything is transitory, you know, and that's the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it was designed, you know. But there are different measurements of time depending upon what you are, you know. And we have the ability to assemble all the parts of the earth that we needed to make our bodies from the earth and the waters and the minerals and things of this nature that was put together by the Great Spirit within us. You know, he created the matrix, if you will, or the blueprint, you know, and we brought everything up from our surroundings. So we are what we eat, we are what we drink, you know. But that's temporary. We take it up for a while, and after a while, it goes back to the earth again. You know, that's been the cycle. That's the natural cycle of things. You know, the only thing that lasts forever is the spirit, the earth, and the sky. The rest is dust in the wind. That's us. You know, my dust is getting creaky and a little. You know, the valleys are getting deeper and the wrinkles and that sort of stuff. But that's the way things are. And you know, and we can.
And another thing that we've forgotten is how to honor our elderly and the wisdom that they can pass to us. And instead of just calling them stories, because they're not always stories, they're teachings, and we have to respect and honor those. And we have forgotten how to as a society. And there are very few small pockets of people who still honor their elderly, still honor the wisdom that's passed from those lives. And, we try to, Bonnie had said about, giving our men back their spiritual warrior roles. And she's not wrong about that at all. But it's also, we need to be honoring the wisdom that can be passed to us. We need to be understanding and appreciative of that. We need to be thankful for it, and we need to receive it. And that's the most important part. We are as a species, we have been taught for decades now how to not receive things, right? And I know women specifically, and I don't mean to cut you guys out of this, because you guys have been taught this too. Men don't cry. That's bullshit, right? I'm sorry, that's bullshit. I understand it, and I understand how it developed, but telling a male child that he is not allowed to feel or express emotion, I don't believe is the correct way to go about that. I think there's another avenue. I think it's, you can express it and teach them how to, right? You're not to cut off your feelings, but women, we face this a lot too. And we face it in a lot of different ways. We face it from religion. We face it from society. It's constantly pushed up in a woman's face about, and it's done on purpose, guys. So before I even say what I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you, it's done on purpose to break our spirits and to break our partners, right? Because woman was made for man, all right? And we build each other. It is a partnership. Men have strengths that we don't, but we have strengths that they don't. And you work in partnership. It's a partnership for a reason. So when women face it, we face it in different ways than men do. We're taught to buck up. The women's right thing is shoved in our faces to try and get women to go out into the workforce. And there's nothing wrong with women working, and there's nothing wrong with women staying home and being a wife and a mother. And the choice is entirely yours. I don't think there's anything wrong with either one of those paths, but I think that doing that, and in pushing for that, they have done it to tear the heart out of the home, because the woman has always been the heart of the home, while the man has always been the strong back and the spine, right? And that's not to say that we don't have iron spines too, because ladies, I know a lot of us have warrior souls as well. And what I always respected about the Native American teachings was they were misconstrued quite often with men's work and women's work. And it was categorized, it was split down in two. But they were a community, and the men knew the importance of the women. The women gave life, and therefore they were reverenced to an extent for that. And we have to strengthen ourselves. But yeah, we also have to give our strength back to our men. And part of how you see the women rising up right now is that a lot of women had to stay focused in their spirituality and stay strong in their spirituality, knowing what was coming, even if they didn't know it here. They knew it here. And when you know it here, you know that you have to stay this course for whatever reason. So us being strong, well, will give our men back that strength. Us being of strong heart and strong constitution as women will give our men the strength that they need to do whatever they need to do. And I believe that because I believe that there is that partnership. And I'm not even just talking about a man and wife partnership here. I'm talking about that brother sister relationship, mother son, father daughter. We all strengthen each other. When you hold one stick, it's easy to break. When you hold a bundle, you're not going to break it, not with your bare hands. You're going to have to chop through that sucker. So I don't know if any of that made any sense, but I was trying to postulate more on Pappy's talk there, but you guys are bringing up some really great points, and I think that they're all really valuable points. And the thing about this is we all have our own path, but we can still strengthen each other on the other paths. You can leave road signs for each other, guys. We can leave nourishment and sustenance for each other right along the path, and keep on walking your path, right? But the next person behind you that comes along will have something, and they may leave something for the next person. And it might be just the right thing for them at that moment. It could be a feather, it could be a rock, it could be a loaf of bread, it could be a vessel of water. It doesn't matter. We have the connection that we need if we only choose to use it, to know what other people need, to be able to lift them up, to be able to strengthen them. And I really believe that. And I believe if we search in our hearts, we'll find the right way to go about helping each other. Even if we can't, be together, I think we will know the right way to help each other. We'll have the words that we need. We'll have the action that we need. We'll have the thing, whatever it is that we need, that person needs. Because we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for those around us. And that is how you live in the spirit of love, I believe.
Okay.
Go ahead, Monty.
All right. Now, going back to the Getty and the Sasquatch, the Landwalkers. Back when I was little, my older brother, he's 7 years older than me. So my dad was disking. We row cropped the bottom land down by the river of Mergazine. So he was telling me about it. My older brother was telling me about it when Dad was disking. It was the first of the spring disc, right? It's where you disc down all the weeds and you open the field back up. And my dad accidentally ran over a little one, and he paid the price. He got beat up by an elder landwalker for running over their little one, and he had bruised ribs and everything else. Now, a year or so later, or about a couple of years later, my dad would never go down there by himself. We'd always take down, grain sacks full of corn on the cob that was from our field, and we'd take it down there and we'd feed them and the wildlife and them. And so there was a place down close to there. You'd walk back about a quarter of a mile to a strip pit. And I remember walking back in there with my dad. He always told me to stay in the truck. But this day he said, come with him. And when I did, I seen the shadows of them. I seen a smaller one and an adult off in the distance. It was pretty different, let me tell you.
That was a gift,
Yeah. You was talking about how when they was how they would study the other animals.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like how the Shaolin monks study the monkey, the crane, tiger, and the snake.
Sure.
The movements.
Sure. you know, you observe, you watch, you ponder it, you shake it around a little bit, and then you see if you could apply it, make it, make it something that's useful to you.
Yeah.
And in some way you could take a step a little further on a path that you have a travel jet, and if you keep doing that through your life, pretty soon you can turn around and look and see you've got footprints that go way back in the distance because you've come that far.
Yeah. And
I'll be right back, gentlemen. Give me 1 minute.
the landwalkers that we had down there, see, now it's federally protected, and it has been for at least over 20 years.
That's not uncommon.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they
they
area,
stink.
the government protects it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they stink. They stink.
They probably
do.
think we do too.
Right. But at first I was like, I asked, because I remember seeing it, and I asked my dad, and he would never tell me. He just said, you didn't see anything, And I'm like, why won't you tell me? And he was supposed to tell me a lot of things before he passed, but he never got to. But my older brother told me quite a few years later of what we all had seen, and I was like, well, that makes sense.
I'm going to bring up something here because, a lot of the stories that are coming out now about the big guys have happened so many years ago, and people never talked about it, and you ponder about, why is it that they never talked about it? And I'm of two schools of thought on that, and both of them kind of are on the same side of the teeter-totter. Okay, one of them is that everybody, as they go through their lives, are going to be given gifts from Creator, if you will, that are just for you. There are things that happen just for you. They are special for you. You're going to be the one to see how the sunlight fell on that spider web that was covered with the morning dew in just such a way. No one else will ever see that. That was a gift for you. And when it comes to something as stupendous as these other beings that are living out there, that can sometimes just be a gift to you, not only from Creator but through them because they're aware of you. Now, the next thing along that same line is that sometimes I really have a feeling of you get this little message subliminally or subconsciously that says, hey, look, you saw us. Don't tell anybody. Help us keep our secret. And many did for many years. Even some of the people now that are having ongoing interactions with them, you'll never hear about it because they respect them so much they'll never talk about it.
It's only recently come out that dogmen have been seen in my area. And here recently, the stories of the dogmen in the area are picking up. That's why I had asked about that, because I've done quite a bit of research into them before, and then I found some new information today, and I thought, ooh, I gotta ask Pappy about that, because I thought you might have some stories on them.
You're muted, Pappy.
Oh, I'm sorry. My dogs were talking before. The traditional areas that the dogmen, that's what we call them, the dogmen, were seen was traditionally through the Ohio Valley area. They seem to be territorial in that area there. Now, there is some indication that there has been some expansion, since their traditional areas. Okay, but that Ohio River Valley area, that corridor there that runs from Lake Erie down to about the western Tennessee area there, that seems to be the primary areas where a lot of the stories came out of. So it wouldn't surprise me that in the area that I think that you and Jeff live, Heather, that there's probably some story to go back a ways.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of there is a reservation here in Ohio, but there's not a lot of open dialogue with any of the English, because everything in Ohio is basically you're either Amish or you're Native or you're English, and the Amish look at it as you're either Amish or you're English, and the Native here, a lot of them look at it as you're either Native or you're English. So they don't look at color here. They just it's just how it looks. And I got to address something real quick. Nick in chat. We do not knock other people. If you are going to knock other people, I will have my mods remove you. I do believe in free speech, but that's not what we do here, sir. And if that's why you're here, I would kindly ask you to remove yourself. We just don't do that here. Thank you, sir. All right.
Look, I'll be right back. I got to let the dogs out.
Absolutely. I understand. Now, I find this as a fascinating topic because, I think they've been taught to us as mythologies and legends and falsehoods that are in fact and indeed real things. That they have just tried to make it unbelievable so that people will question and not. And I think maybe originally it was with good intent, possibly to protect these species. Hey, Gary. Yes, and I have it in the basement drying out from the rain. It'll be here next time you come. I don't know if he dropped out already or not. He was saying some stuff. So, hold on here. Thank you, Monty. I missed that until just now, but I did see that, and I got no problems if I have to block someone, and I have no problem taking full responsibility for that. But I got some excellent mods. Yeah, he didn't want to hang out. Good on him. And it's not that I'm trying to keep anybody away from our conversation. I think these conversations are important. All these conversations that we have are important. And we may get trolls coming our way, you guys, my mods. I love you guys, and I trust that you will do what needs to be done to keep the love light, to keep the spirit up, to keep, here we are always trying to, we want to lift each other up, right? And I want to apologize about my rant the other day. I maybe should not have gone as far as I went with that rant, and I apologize if I hurt anyone. That was not my intent. But I do have very strong feelings about a lot of things, and I am not good at hiding them, and I won't hide them. So if I have to express them, I will, and if I have to apologize, I will. I am only human, guys. I'm just as human as the next person. Tag Monty, you're it.
We're all humans.
Yeah, and we all have the ability to fall flat on our faces every day of the week.
Well, there was a few people like last night, and then Chuck C mentioned it in chat earlier. They said that they was wondering and hollering for me to be in Travis's chat last night. I never saw those messages that where they was wanting me in there, but I was there off and on as much as I could because my shoulder was killing me, and because the other mods was taking care of the troublemakers.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's all I was saying on that subject.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories like of the ones walking in the Appalachian Mountains, or the what we was talking about earlier, the Yeti and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got a question for Pappy and you, Heather.
Okay.
The shaman or the medicine men of the tribes, some of them was reportedly shapeshifters in a good way, not in a bad way. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of that. I've heard of that in not only Native American shamanism, but Celtic shamanism, Druidry. I think there are people that follow a Norse line of thinking that also have shape shifting among their medicine people. I don't know that much about it. I do know it is a spiritual aspect from what I've read. Now, how, if it's a physical aspect, I do not know. But as a spiritual aspect, in order to be able to utilize the energies of certain kinds of animals, like how Pappy talks about fox invisibility and playfulness and that type of thing. But I'm sure Pappy can expound probably more on that than I can.
Well, by shapeshifters, are you talking about those that actually end up looking like the animal that they shift into, Monty?
Yes.
Okay, because in my way of thinking and my way of understanding, there's a difference between a shapeshifter and a skinwalker. Okay, they're two entirely different things. Now, a shapeshifter, uh, as used as a technique by people that we call medicine men, shamans, whatever, is literally, from my understanding and from my teachings, have been those that are able to alter themselves mentally and energetically through ceremony to take on the aspects and the attributes of that which they're shifting into. For example, to see through the eyes of eagle and to be able to remote view, if you will, or to be able to travel with the swiftness of jackrabbit and go from point A to point B in a quick, rapid period of time. That was shape shifting in that aspect. Now, whether or not those that were within that ceremonial sacred space actually saw the person shift into or shape into that particular modality, most of the times the shamans or the people that were involved in ceremony or were involved in astral travel or whatever other terms that you want to use it, were not able to see that because they were not within that same realm. Did it in fact happen? I'm going to say yes, based on some of the experiences that I have had. Okay. So in that aspect, I think shape shifting can be very real. Now, if you're talking about the skinwalker, now you're talking about all the difference lying in one word, intent. And the intent usually of the skinwalker, and from my understanding of how people become or became a skinwalker, was through the manipulation of the dark or the negative forces, where they had to go through a certain procedure in order to be able to accomplish this. And it was never considered to be something that was, that the people desired, because most of the time these were conducted by those that were even the natives called witches, the brujas, those that work the dark side. Okay. And they did not look at that as favorable, because it was someone that had chosen to work in a 100% unbalanced plane, which was diametrically opposed to the plane that we live in. And the way, of course, energy works is that if you have two opposing energies, there will always be conflict. One will always try to exert dominance over the other, so there's that constant conflict. So I don't know if in a roundabout way I might have answered your question or not, Monty.
Right. Well, it's that kind of on some of that aspect kind of reminds me of that old the Native American saying, that the chief was telling the younger one, you have two wolves inside of you, the good wolf and the bad wolf, and it all depends on which one you feed. On some of
Absolutely.
that,
Exactly.
on some of that
That
aspect.
okay, that brings us
The
right back round, Monty. Right back round to that window that you view the world through. It's what you feed yourself, what you feed your spirit is what's going to grow. So if you're constantly following all the negative makeup on top, you're not going to see the real underlying truths, right? It brings us right full circle back around to that. What you feed yourself and how you perceive things is exactly what you're going to what's going to come out, what's going to be um, manifesting from you, right? Um, so if you feed the dark wolf will grow. If you feed fear, it will grow. If you refuse to feed it, it cannot grow. Um, Nick, um, yeah, remote viewing actually is a really cool thing. And yes, it really does exist. And our government used it a lot for the wrong reasons. But that stuff does happen. No, I don't get any of my topics from Simon. I do
no,
think he's a pretty interesting fellow, but we talk about whatever comes across our minds and our hearts. Um, I'm going to ask you to lighten your tone, though, because I'm feeling some stuff from you, um, and I'm not caring for it. So if you're here to lift up and learn or even just listen, you are more than welcome. Um, we really do try to keep the negativity out of this channel as much as we can. And if you're not down with that, maybe today's not the day for you to be here. So I will send you love, and I will hope that you are able to receive it.
Can I
Go ahead,
interject?
Peppy.
Can I interject?
Absolutely.
Okay, I've been observant over the last couple of weeks of some changes that are taking place. Okay, of course, the changes have been taking place um, gradually over the years, and they're accelerating quite a bit now. We're in a huge tumultuous time right now in our time of being on the earth. Okay, there's a great conflict going on. It started before, but the battle is fully engaged right now. The channels that are out there that are are seeking the truth, are talking the truth, are flying over the truth, are observing the truth, okay, are trying to determine the truth, okay. Those that are tending the wicks on their candles so that they stay brighter, and they grow brighter. Okay. What is happening is that these are attracting attention, just like a light bulb will at night. And all the bugs come in. Okay. And they come around. Okay. They're attracted to the light. All right. And what has been happening with the disruption that's going on in all of these channels, I think, is by design. Okay. Whether the people that are participating in the disruption realize it or not, okay, it may in fact be part of their intent to do that. But at the same time, they could also be unwittingly being utilized for that. And it goes right back to the statement that you were talking about, Heather, about families and how the family unit has been disrupted. This whole thing has been by design. It is designed to divide us. It is designed to weaken us. It is designed to distract us, because that's the same thing that a predator would do when it comes in and cuts out different
The
sections
herd.
of the herds and things of this nature. So if you realize that that is happening, okay, then you can apply the laws of energy. And you also spoke of this. In spiritual energy, like attracts like. That which does not like the light and likes to operate in complete darkness will always attempt to extinguish the light. Okay. But it can't connect with and embrace the light because it's diametrically opposed. It's like two opposing ends of a magnet pushing each other away.
Pushing each other away.
So there's that conflict again. Okay. So knowing that, okay, when these kind of things happen, if you raised your light, okay, you make the light brighter, and then they'll recede further back to the shadows. However, if you engage and interact, then what happens is that you change your energy that you've been projecting into something else. And that goes right back to what you put out is what you get. You make the choice of the fuel that you run on. Okay. If you want to run on positive energy, you put out positive energy. That's what comes back to fill your tank. If you allow yourself to fill your tank with contaminated fuel, okay, now you're operating on contaminated fuel and you interact with that. So you start interacting with this stuff and it just continues to accelerate and to accelerate and to accelerate. Now, man learned a long time ago that to keep the predators out, the best thing you can do is erect a good fence. Okay. And fences come in many forms. Personal fences that we can put around ourselves energetically and spiritually and through our religious and faith beliefs, but also other ones, such as good moderators, such as good parameters that you set for your channel as to this, what will be acceptable and what is not acceptable, and operate within those. Okay. Does that mean that the predators won't try to find a way in? No. That doesn't mean they won't stop. It means they might ride into somebody else's backpack and you didn't know it. Okay. That can Trojan horse in. But the point that I'm trying to make is that this has accelerated a lot over the last couple of weeks. Every channel is getting hit with this. If it isn't this, you're getting hit with the AI bots, web chat, boys and girls pictures and all these other things that we're seeing pop up in there. Okay.
Yeah.
The battle is real. It's in the time. We're the generation that our forefathers told us about that would experience these things. So it's not going to be unusual. But if you engage with them, you're just prolonging it. If you engage with them, you end up changing your energy. Okay. You've allowed them to win that skirmish.
I
Okay.
see.
I don't want to allow them to win the skirmish anymore. How about you, Monty? Do you want to?
I try not to, sir. I really
Yeah.
don't. I really don't.
They've been hitting us pretty hard. I've been watching it.
Yes, and it's hard to watch some of that.
Some of the keys
I,
that you'll pick up on is if people start dropping names. okay, or start dropping other people's content, okay, things of this nature, then it's going in a direction that you need to be wary of, because
Yeah.
it's pulling it way down into a lower vibrational energy that I call the Jerry Springer approach to life.
Whoa. Yeah. Not real fond of that fella.
Uh, Happy as always. It's a pleasure. Heather, thank you for having me up. I love
Thank you for
y'all.
coming up, Monty.
No problem.
You have a great day.
Yep. I'll holler to y'all later.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, Jeff Riddle's probably getting ready to come on. And Pappy, that was, thank you. I needed that. I think I don't like to see the people getting upset, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to kind of try to stop it in its tracks, I think. But, I read a book one time it was about angels and magic, actually. And it was a very interesting book. But the key thing that I remember from that book was like, when you have negative people around you and you're in a circumstance where you can't get away from that energy, those people that try to send them like loving angel thoughts, and see if it doesn't change them. And I've had some good experience with just sending, the good thoughts, the love, the intent, right? Intent matters. Um, and I was just trying to do that. But you're right. Even if you open the dialogue, you're opening a doorway uh, of sorts. Yeah, I love you, Peppy.
Well,
I
one of the things, Heather, I want you to understand. First off, I want to thank you for allowing me to come up and chat, and everybody that's in chat and everybody that's listening and stuff. You need to understand that, what I'm talking about are my own beliefs and my own feelings, and my own experiences and stuff that I've run across and how I've applied them in my life. And I don't expect anybody to walk my path, and I'm not asking any of you to let me walk your path as well. So you can take my words for the rambling of an old man, or you can take my words, as some wise sage someplace. That choice is yours. Okay. Is it important to me? In the long run, probably not. Okay, because I want you to live your own life. I want you to live your own realization. Walk your own pathway. I'll let you know what I found wrong on mine. Okay, doesn't mean that it's right for you. It may never be right for you. It may never be a truth for you, but it is for me. Okay, so having a platform where I can come up and talk about it, which is something relatively rare for me, because this has just been a recent thing for me to do. Okay, but for those out there that disagree with anything, that's fine. I have no problem with you disagreeing. For those that are out there agreeing with me, agree with me as a friend that's walking beside you. Don't put me someplace that I'm not comfortable being. I'm not a great teacher. I'm not a great sage. I'm none of those things. I'm a human being, and trying to live my life as best I can. And I ask everybody else to do that. And I also realize that if you ever get more than two people in one place, you've always got somebody trying to get a majority. If you have three people, you got somebody trying to get a majority. I understand that about human nature. If you have people that are in their lives don't have a voice, maybe it's a platform like this and chat that gives them a voice because they can remain anonymous. I understand that about people too. Okay. So you don't have to agree with what I say. Doesn't make any difference to me one way or the other. Okay. I know that
I agree.
creators.
I do agree with what you said. I absolutely do agree with what you said. I just I know I tend to be a little. There's a little bit of my naivety that is still there, where I still want to try to bring people to the light. I still want to try to have them look through eyes of love. I don't know if that'll ever change because it's part of who I am. So I always try to leave room for saving folks. And I know as an adult now that not everyone wants to be, and it is their choice, but I can't help but try.
Well, you keep
Human
right on
fallacy.
being you. You keep right on being you. Everybody should be themselves. Okay. Everybody should strive to be tomorrow somebody that they're not today. And
Yes.
everybody should strive today to be somebody they weren't yesterday. Okay, so that'll keep your life exciting. That'll keep your life interesting. That'll allow you to
And
explore
moving.
all the Creator has for you.
Absolutely. I love you, Pappy.
Well, look,
I'm
I'm going
adopting
to.
you.
I think you already did.
I
Look,
know I already did.
I'm going to drop off here. Like I told you before, yeah, I have a tendency to adopt some people too. I'm going to drop off here. I do have some things that I need to attend to. Thank you for allowing me to come up, and I was surprised that the signal was good enough today to allow me to remain up here for the time frame that I did. Okay, so
I am too, but I'm so pleased, and you are always welcome up here. You know that, right? Always
well,
welcome.
I appreciate. I'll try not to be a pest. I'm an isolationist by choice.
I don't know that that's possible, but okay.
Okay, we'll see you.
Much love and light. All right, guys. I think we are going to wrap it up today. And I just want you guys to know I do love you. And we are all just going through this together. So you are not alone. And if you feel alone, reach out to someone. Reach out to me. You guys have my email. If you don't have it, I'll give it to you. If you're one of those people that needs a phone number so you can just talk to a human voice that cares on the other side, reach out to me through email. This is now is the most important time. You thought all the chaotic energy leading up to now was bad. Wait, but don't forget to breathe. Nice, big, deep, cleansing breaths. Okay, you guys? And I know it's really, really hard to stay positive in a time where there's so much chaos. Be the light, though, that shines through. Okay? Be the light because you can be, because you are. All right? I love you guys. Love and light. Gary, I haven't even gotten started yet, but I plan on starting it soon. But I'm very into that book. So, all right, guys. We love you all. There's a couple of you I might be calling today. You know who you are. So if you don't want to talk to me today, I understand. But if you do, answer. All right. Love you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Creator willing.